Hi, and welcome to this IT conversation. My name is Robert. I'm a technologist for Tanzu at ITQ. I'm joined here by my colleague, Carlos, who is in our cloud native team. Carlos, why didn't you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Carlos Mestre Pino, one of the IT consultants, as Robert says, in the cloud native team. Have been in ITQ for, well, a little bit less than a year, and I've been focusing on Tanzu and platform automation.
Cool. So, Carlos, the last 6 months or so, you've been working on an exciting project within ITQ.
Yes.
Within ITQ, we needed a demo environment, and we have a partnership with AWS. And we wanted to be able to show customers on demand things from the Tanzu portfolio. So I've understood that you've created quite some work there. Why don't you tell us about what you've built? How we've set up this POC environment in AWS.
Yeah. So, I mean, as you say, thanks to that partner program, we were provided access to VMware Cloud services, namely VMware Cloud on AWS. And, well, that gives us the opportunity to create vSphere environments running on AWS bare metal. And, yeah, within that context, I create an automation framework to deploy Tanzu Community Edition on VMware Cloud on AWS. Cool.
So Tanzu Community Edition, I think it was announced at VMworld last year. It's one of the different flavors of the Kubernetes runtime that VMware offers. This is not a commercial version of Tanzu. The commercial version that we probably heard of before is Tanzu Kubernetes Grid, or maybe vSphere with Tanzu. How is this version different?
Well, actually, Tanzu Community Edition utilizes a lot of most of the open source components of TKG, Tanzu Kubernetes Grid, also known as TKG M for multi-cloud. So actually, the architecture and the deployment method are very similar to TKG, something that I already had a little bit of experience with.
So provisioning TKG, or in this case TCE, into a vSphere environment is one thing. This is a vSphere environment sitting inside AWS. This is VMC on AWS. So tell us a bit how you approached automating the deployment.
Well, as I said, as part of this partner program, we were also, since it was a sandbox environment that we have, we were asked to remove, delete the data center, when not in use, right? And for that, we were also given like a basic Terraform script that creates the vSphere environment in VMware Cloud, and also a couple NSX objects. So yeah, actually, I've never really used Terraform before that time, and I mean, I was very impressed by it, and I also felt encouraged to carry on building the rest of the automation framework with Terraform, and as well with a couple PowerShell scripts in the middle.
Right, so you're provisioning part of what's needed to get VMC on AWS up and running, so the vSphere parts inside an AWS VPC. We have NSX parts included, and then we add to that, I suppose, just TKG, and is that it? Is that all we need?
You do need to create a couple objects in the AWS side to connect to your VMware Cloud environment. That is, well, you need a VPC, virtual private cloud, some subnets. You need to be able to retrieve some route tables. Well, then apart from that, we obviously need to create the SDDC and some NSX objects for, well, some of them just for basic usage of the environment, being able to access it from your workstation and so on. But then apart from that, there were, a bunch new networks, firewall rules in between the networks that we needed to create for
Okay, and you've provisioned most of this inside a Terraform plan?
Yes.
With
exactly.
some PowerShell kind of added on. What did you need the PowerShell for?
So there were a few things that we couldn't really do with the Terraform provider. Not many, by the way, but for example, the creation of a policy-based VPN. And we also needed to retrieve a couple more parameters like IP address of the ESXi host and the URL of the data store connected to it in order to upload some OVA files through that VPN tunnel directly into the ESXi host.
Right. So this is TCE and very similar architecturally to TKG. So I suppose we could easily swap TCE with TKG if we wanted to show the commercial distribution of Tanzu.
Yeah, that's correct. And actually, that's what I was working on initially. And then Tanzu Community Edition got released on VMware last year. I had already spent a few weeks building this automation framework for TKG, the commercial version. So, I mean, I was also working on a blog post to be able to share this code, all this automation framework. And yeah, so I thought, why not do it on Tanzu Community Edition? I'm going to share this with the community. And also, since I was releasing the code and hoping that people are going to use it, I thought, okay, more people are going to use it if I adapt this to deploy Tanzu Community Edition, since you don't have all the added license costs.
Yeah. So for a Kubernetes cluster, we also require things like networking and load balancing. So what's the load balancing solution you added to this? Yeah,
that is the NSX Advanced Load Balancer, or commonly known as AVI as well, which yeah, you can deploy as well on VMware Cloud and AWS.
All right. So you deploy that also automatically using Terraform?
That was as well a combination of Terraform and yeah, and PowerShell. There's also a couple limitations when it comes to NSX Advanced Load Balancer on VMware Cloud and AWS. You can still deploy and load balance your Kubernetes cluster with it, but on an on-premises environment, the AVI would usually import certain information about the existing environment, while on VMware Cloud you might need to create some of these objects like static routes, some networks and stuff.
Yeah, and the service engines for AVI probably also require directly inserting the OVA.
Yes. Yeah, correctly. That can also be fairly automated because you reuse the same OVA for each service engine, so you can actually yeah, just store that OVA into your content library and yeah, build some automation outside of AVI in order to deploy those service engines.
Do we also deploy a container registry?
Yes, we deploy the Harbor. Yeah.
Okay, how's that deployed? Is that just a VM?
No, it's actually one of the Tanzu packages next to another ones like Prometheus, Grafana, Fluentbeat, etc. And yeah, it's fairly easy to deploy Harbor or any of these Tanzu packages.
Okay, so tell me a bit more about these Tanzu packages. Is this like a Helm chart kind of thing?
No, it's actually using Carvel tools in the background, and well, actually there is also the possibility to turn all this well, Bitnami Helm charts into Tanzu packages, so as you know, for them to run a bit more natively in your Tanzu environment.
So these are all native deployments inside the Kubernetes clusters we're also building automatically.
Yeah, correct.
So it's a complete end-to-end deployment. You have vSphere, we have the stuff we need around Kubernetes, like the AVI load balancer in this case, Harbor registry, and monitoring tools, all automatically included in this distribution.
Yeah, no, it's very, very great the way that you can deploy this well, these packages, or as you say, the whole solution.
Right, and this is, of course, this gives us basic Kubernetes and the stuff around it. Now we can, of course, use this to demonstrate probably all kinds of elements of the Tanzu portfolio. So I'm thinking things like Tanzu Mission Control, Tanzu Application Platform, which will run, of course, on any Kubernetes distribution, certainly inside this deployment. You use TCE, you said, because of the open nature. It's a community edition, so that's a very good match to the kind of the ambition that we often have at ITQ to publish things in the open, to share with the community. So all of the scripting you've made, this architecture, I assume it's all out there in some form that people can have a look at.
Yes, I shared the whole framework on my GitHub.
Okay, and there's a blog post probably?
Again, yeah, so in the GitHub repository, I'm explaining a little bit more the details on the script itself, while on the blog post, I'm talking a little bit about some of the challenges and the reason why I'm doing certain things the way I'm doing them.
Right. And could people reuse some or all of this in their own kind of home labs, where we're often also running vSphere?
Yeah, so well, actually, the framework is there's four Terraform phases, and the first one is the one that you're using in VMware Cloud. The rest of the script, you're actually just deploying TCE on regular vSphere environment with NSXT. So yeah, technically you can just get rid of that first phase, and instead of creating an SVDC with Terraform, you're also able to import an existing SVDC configuration. You could substitute that phase 1 by importing your SVDC.
Okay, well, it sounds like great work. Thank you for building this. We're going to be using this a lot to demonstrate all kinds of stuff in the Tanzu portfolio. So thank you very much for your time.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you for watching this IT Conversations. If you would like to know more about the POC environment that Carlos has created for us, have a look in the description for this video. You'll find links to his blog post and his GitHub repository that contains all the scripts that you can reuse yourself. If you'd like to know more about the Tanzu portfolio, if you'd like a demonstration of any parts of the Tanzu portfolio, we now have an environment where we can provide that. Please feel free to contact us. Thank you for watching.